Dr. Elizabeth Hoefer wants you to get your head on straight. In a world gone sideways, having balance and integrity in all areas of life leads to having confidence that breeds clarity. Clarity is essential to living an authentic life, and all the information shared on the Get Your Head On Straight podcast is designed to inspire you to live your life fulfilled. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to Get Your Head On Straight with Dr. Elizabeth Hoefer. I'm so excited about my guest today. He's a good friend and a colleague here in Orange County. His name is Dr. Daniel Kimbley, and I've known him from several years. I've actually seen him transition from student to doctor, and I'm so excited to have him on the podcast. So welcome, Dr. Kimbley.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor when you ask me. I couldn't think of anything else that I would do with this time other than be on a podcast with you. So grateful to be here. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So as I mentioned, I met you when you were a student, and it was from a mutual friend of ours. And we became connected through the CalChiro organization, California Chiropractic Association, of which I serve on the board. And you were an up and coming intern through another leader in the organization. And one day he texted me and he said, I've got this great student. He's thinking about moving to Dana Point. Can you guys help him out? And I texted you immediately. I said, welcome to Orange County. What can I do to help you? And I was so excited to have another doctor come to Orange County. And it's so interesting because the timing of you coming, it's like people are mass exiting California. And here you are, a guy from the Midwest and me, a girl from the Midwest, entering into what would seem like an insane thing to do, right?
Yep.
So give me some perspective about who you are, where you're from, what you do, because I want the listeners to understand your heart, your passion for wellness, for family care, for chiropractic, and what led you on this journey.
For sure. So this is a long story. I will try to abbreviate as much as possible. And if you need to cut me off anywhere in between, just do so and ask more questions. So a little bit of a backstory about me. So as you said, I'm Dr. Daniel Kimbley, and I actually grew up in Indiana. My wife and I both did. So I was teaching high school English, and that was 6 years in the making. So I was teaching for 6 years with another person I would consider a mentor to me at that high school. Him and I were big on the brain and like, how do we make our classrooms better than every other classroom? And so one of the things we were big on is like, we started learning about the brain through this book called How Children Succeed. Like the concept was that the question that the book raised is that if we could give someone a GED, a high school equivalent in 1 year, 2 years, or whatever it is, then why do we need to send kids to school for 4 years? Which is a very interesting question from an economic,
very valid question.
From an economic perspective. So then the book lays out this idea that it's actually not about the knowledge that you learn in high school, but it's about a specific set of skills that people can learn throughout their life, which actually make them successful. And so what they found is this set of skills, we would call the soft skills, all come from the prefrontal cortex, which I know you love because this is what we stimulate when we do the adjustment. So I'll circle back to that in a second.
Yes.
So long story short, we started making teaching strategies, me and this mentor of mine. And he was like, he really kind of took me with him because he wanted somebody who was young and like super fired up and had the energy to do it. And so we started creating our own teaching strategies. And what we found is like the high school that we taught at, they were like, you guys are doing something and like these kids are getting results that no one else is getting. So can other teachers come and learn from you and like hang out in your classroom? So simultaneous to that, the shift in like learning about the cortex and things like that, Heather's my wife. She was practicing physical therapy and she forced me to go see her chiropractor that she used to work for. And she's like, I didn't have any back pain. So at that point I was like, if I don't have neck pain, back pain, or headaches, there's no reason I would ever go to see a chiropractor.
Right.
Which is total misconception, by the way.
Absolutely.
So I meet my chiropractor and he said a very simple principle that we share with all of our clients that I know you share with your patients is that the body knows how to heal itself. And if we free interference from the nervous system, then the body will heal itself at 100%. And this is something that I believe to be true my whole life, but I didn't know other people talked about it. I thought I was just an outcast black sheep that thought this, that I didn't need to take medication as long back as I could remember.
Right.
And I grew up in a very allopathic household. So long story short, as I started getting adjusted, I noticed my whole life shifted. Like I had more passion about teaching. I was more excited. Heather and I's relationship got better. I got better in CrossFit. I got better in volleyball. More people were saying like, oh, just wait, you're going to fall apart at 30. That was just not the story for me. And the only thing we were doing different was I was under chiropractic care and no one else was. Like we were all eating healthy, all doing CrossFit, all competitive volleyball. And so I really realized there's something to it. And the more I learned about the brain and how chiropractic stimulates the brain, I started asking the question in my classroom, what if I could adjust these kids that I was teaching? And the definitive answer was that the results I could get in a year in a classroom, if they had chiropractic care as a part of it, I could probably get those same results in 3 months with someone.
You were already on this path of like, how can we stimulate these kids through not traditional teaching to get them to get the education and the skills to be a success in life that what we think takes 4 years down to a year. And now you're saying if you add a chiropractic adjustment, which literally transforms the structure to allow the function to be better, you can do it in 3 months.
Yeah, for sure. So
it's revolutionary.
Yeah. So I'll give you like just a little bit of like kind of a thought experiment with it. And again, like this is all theoretical at that point. Like I had no doctorate. I was an English teacher, right? So I was a high school English teacher. I had no science background except for what I was reading in these books and trying to learn more about how the brain works. And so what I saw is like, I started noticing that specifically kiddos, like I had lots of kids in my classroom with like autism or other sensory processing disorders. And like, I noticed that their posture just seemed to be different. And so I started asking my doctor like questions about how posture works. And again, this all came back to the frontal cortex and how the cortex controls posture. And so what I realized is like for teaching these teaching strategies like grit, willpower, determination, emotional intelligence, all of those things that are all cortex related, then if I was teaching strategies to do that and I could adjust someone and get a direct stimulus to the brain to like wake up that cortex and then teach those strategies, it would be an accelerated pace. So I was in a unique situation where I would have, based on a program called AVID, I would have kids from the time they were in 10th grade all the way through 12th grade. So I would see them for 3 years and I would watch the growth take hold. But I'm convinced still that if we had a school that had chiropractic care instead of school nurses, that these kids that I was getting results in 3 years with, we could get them in 1 year.
I think you just invented the next level of business or one of your streams right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because now more than ever, that is something. I mean, how many times have we as chiropractors said we all just need to move to an island and do our own thing because we don't fit in traditional society?
Yep, so true.
And how many chiropractors homeschool their kids, right?
Right.
And now in California, well, actually, technically the world during this coronavirus COVID-19 situation, we're all homeschooling our kids. And I see the difference in my kids and their creativity and their enthusiasm, not being stuck at a brick and mortar for 8 hours a day, but doing focused things for about 2 to 3 hours and the rest of the day getting to play outside and go on nature walks, things like that. I'm like, it makes so much sense.
Absolutely. Yeah. So like I could go on and on and on about teaching and how it's just cool. Like, so we started simple strategies. Like there's a thing called Pomodoro breaks. I didn't even know it existed when I was using it back when I was teaching. But like we would do, you know, if I had an hour-long class, we were taking breaks every 10 to 15 minutes, 15 minutes on the long end, because we understand how the neuropeptides of the brain work and those have to get replenished. So if you don't take a break from what you're doing every 15 minutes on the long end, then those neuropeptides wear out and you can't focus, you can't concentrate, you're not going to retain as much. And so just implementing like little silly strategies that most people would just see in passing and be like, that was weird. Why did he just throw that into his curriculum? But my results showed, my mentor that I was teaching with, his results showed to the point where they're both like, hey, we want you guys to come out of the classroom and start teaching other teachers. And that's when my decision had to be made of like, all right, I can go into like the admin realm and teach adults, which I definitely didn't want to do because I loved working with my students.
Right.
Or I could go teach whole families this principle of health, healing, happiness, what it means to be a successful human being and where all that comes from, which you and I both know that it comes from the brain, plain and simple.
Absolutely. So, I love that Pomodoro technique. I've known about it for several years myself. And I do that little trick with my kids when we're trying to get our chores done. I set a timer and for 25 minutes, we focus on a task. And then for 5 minutes, we do a dance party or something crazy. And it has nothing to do with what we were just doing. And I forget about it though when I'm at work because I get so focused on seeing patients for 5 and 6 hours at a time.
Right.
I guess the good thing is like every 7 to 8 minutes, I'm seeing a different patient. So I'm refocusing, but it's still the same task. So I think I need to reintroduce that into my own life and my own like habits, because if I did Pomodoro technique, I'd probably be a better business owner and a better chiropractor. So thanks for that good reminder. And maybe we could put a little link up to something regarding that so the listeners can look into it. What do you think?
Yeah, for sure. If you don't remember Pomodoro, because that's like a weird word for me to remember, just look up Google tomato breaks. And it will be like the first thing that comes up. I don't know why it's called tomato, but just Google tomato breaks and it will come up and it'll tell you exactly how to do it. And it's like, just like you said, 25 on and 5 minutes off with a break. And then you go back and you just repeat that cycle however many times you need to.
That's fantastic. Tomato break. I love it. Okay. So we know you're a rad teacher and then you were at a crossroads.
Yeah. So my crossroads was, and I had looked at back when I learned about this principle. So Dr. Mike, my chiropractor back in Indiana, when he shared the principle of health and healing, that the nervous system controls all, I was like all in with it. So I was probably his best patient he had ever had because I was like, I'll do every exercise. If you want me to eat dirt off the ground to help my body heal at a higher pace, like I'll listen to whatever you tell me to do, because he had the answer that I was looking for, but I didn't even know I was looking for it.
Right.
And it's all thanks to my wife because she forced me to go see him.
By the way, I'd like to point out that that's pretty awesome as a PT because there's always so much bad blood, it seems, between PT chiropractic, MD chiropractic, and it's actually not really a thing. The smart people know that it's not a thing. It's just these people that have simple minds and are very limited and small-minded.
Absolutely.
So I'm just so proud that she was so open and aware as a physical therapist because they don't get trained. And in fact, I know that they get trained to hate chiropractic.
Yeah, exactly. Don't refer to them. So her thing was like, when she would refer, she was working with high-level athletes, high school, college, some professional. And she noticed that the people that she would refer to Dr. Mike who went, she was like, they healed faster. Not only did they heal faster, so I wouldn't have to see them as much, but she was like, they didn't get re-injured as quickly. She has some really cool stories of some people with like knee replacements that are like fastest healing times. She's like, they were all in with chiropractic care too, because we know that the body heals at a higher level if the nervous system's free of interference. So,
right on.
So anyway, that was like her story. She forced me to go see him. So I had a decision to make. It was like, I could go the not administration route, but like teaching other teachers route, which I didn't want to do. I love the students. That's why I got into teaching, and I didn't want to go away from that. And there was another like a side note frustration of like, I could teach my kids so many healthy habits in the classroom, because that's what I ended up being the health guy in the school, because they were like, why are you drinking that green smoothie? Or like, why do you have to leave volleyball practice early every Wednesday to like go to a chiropractor? Are you like hurt, or what? Do you have cancer? Like, what's wrong with you? And I just always shared this principle of like, no, I want my body to function at 100% so I can do all this stuff forever and be my best for you. And so I realized that like getting to the kids and then them going back home to eating Flamin' Hot Cheetos and like whatever else wasn't necessarily the best route to like introduce this to whole families and help change people's lifestyles. So I decided that in order to become the authority, I had to become the doctor. And doctor means teacher.
Amen.
We know that. There's no coincidence that I'm teaching people, and I'm still teaching kids, and I'm teaching whole families now. And I went to Life University and graduated December of 2018. And then through that process, Heather and I had a conversation like, we're not going back to Indiana. We want water and sunshine year round. Florida and California were the two places. We traveled the coast of California, basically from Half Moon Bay, every beach city, all the way down to San Diego, and hit all the small beach towns, some of the bigger beach towns. We fell in love with Dana Point, and we will be here forever, ever, unless it gets too crazy out here with the laws. But I don't think that's going to happen.
The thing is, even if it gets crazy, we need to have people that are truth tellers stay and fight, because the reason why things go along the way that they do is because people don't stay and fight and they leave. Yep. And I am not going anywhere. I'm here.
Right. 100%.
Yeah. So talk to me about where you are now, because you went to chiropractic school. You went to an incredible chiropractic college. You went to Life in Georgia. Then you ended up in San Diego as an intern, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this is all kind of by design. So like I was fortunate enough to realize that like I could be a great adjuster. And so I spent lots of time in the beginning part of school, like trying to so we had like full spine club. By the time I was in full spine class in school, I was already teaching the full spine club because I'd done everything early through club. So I could like get more adjusting skills. And so, but one of the things I realized is like, just because you're a great adjuster doesn't necessarily mean that you're a great business person. And if I wanted to have my own practice, I need to also know business. And so what I decided to do was like, why would I not go do my internship in the place that I want to live in or close to the place I want to live in, and then learn the business side, but also create relationships so that like day one, when I opened, we could have people who were ready for us to take care of them because we had been in the community. We had built some trust. And it wasn't like I was going out and selling them. It's just that people knew who we were because we had been here for 4 months before our practice ever opened. Mm-hmm. And they had learned more about what we do and what we were about and our journey, which is cool for people because most people are like, I mean, everybody told us this wasn't possible to make this happen.
100%.
Move to Orange County and like have a practice that's literally 3/4 of a mile from the beach. So yeah, it's amazing. And that's what we did. We made it happen.
It's because you had a clear prefrontal cortex.
Mm-hmm. 100%. Yeah, because I could have easily given up. That's what it like to like really hit it home with how important chiropractic care is I think that everybody associates it with pain, but there are so many other pains in people's lives that weren't mine. Like I was not a good husband at the time, but I was not a good boyfriend to Heather. I was not a good fiance. I didn't even realize it. And so many of our people that we take care of are like, I didn't realize how bad things were until my brain and my nervous system got clear and I started getting adjusted. And I realized how like off my life was and how much more powerful of a person I am as a result of the care that you provide, that we provide.
Come on. When I was a student in chiropractic college, I was applying for a scholarship through the Blair Chiropractic Society. I won the scholarship that year in 2008. So we're going back, 12 years at this point. And I wrote a scholarship, and I was actually just talking about it this morning with some friends of mine that are in the Diplomate program with me, because I've been doing some fasting. And when you fast, you get clear, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm on like day 5 of this awesome fast that I'm doing. And it occurred to me that 12 years ago, I wrote this essay, and one of the most prominent sentences that came from it was clarity breeds confidence.
So true.
And that's been a banner over my life. Like whenever I feel like I'm like not being clear about something, I just have to go back to that. Like I'm not clear and I'm not confident. So I have to get clear. In the world that I live in, if you're clear, that means your head's on straight. That means your neck's in alignment. Your brain and your body are fully connected. And you can make choices from a place of health instead of a place of dis-ease. Mm-hmm. So I love that. And what's cool is that you practice chiropractic in a completely different way than I do, but we're still having an incredible impact on our communities and our patients. And you refer to me and I refer to you, and we take care of each other. And it's amazing. And that's the thing. Chiropractic, we all are designed with the gifts that we've been given, and we all have a gift to offer, and we all have people that we're supposed to see. But there isn't such thing as competition. Like I'm not afraid that you're in Dana Point helping hundreds and thousands of people, because I'm over here in Mission Viejo doing the same thing, and we're literally like 16 miles apart. But we're collaborative. And that's what I loved when I got the text from Dr. Gambino that you were coming to Dana Point. And I wanted to get you involved in Cal Chiro on a local level, because I knew that you had a vision and you were intentional, and that you would show up and you would be an incredible asset to the chiropractic community, which would lead to obviously the patients in the community. Because if we're good, healthy doctors, then we can be good, healthy practitioners for the people.
Right. 100%.
So it's been fun working with you, and it's been fun getting to know you and your wife. And I haven't met Colette yet, but I've seen lovely pictures of her.
She's amazing. She is. And likewise, it's like, it's so grateful to have somebody welcoming, and because it could be, for us, it was scary. Like we have no family here. Mm-hmm. So for you to be so willing to like meet us, hang out with us, chat with us, let me come to your office. Like all of that is just, it means the world, because it's not competition. It's like the more people that are under care, the better our world, the better our community is going to be.
100%.
And that's really all that matters.
And I remember when you were a student, you would come and shadow. And then when you first opened your practice, we were doing a networking group, and I invited you to come because all the contacts I had, I wanted you to have them too. Yeah. Because they all do great things, and they need to be able to refer to people in your community to you. So it's just such a beautiful thing. So what are you doing now? Tell me the name of your practice and what it's all about.
Yeah, so we're in Dana Point. Nexus Family Chiropractic is the name of our practice. And to tell you what it's all about, the easiest way to do that would be to define what Nexus means. So lots of people ask, like, where did the word Nexus come from? So Nexus means a connection linking two or more things, or the most important central point or place. And so there's like kind of a dual meaning to this. One is that your connection to life, quite literally, is your nervous system. Like if you do not have a brain, then you do not have life. And so that's an important connection, right? And then the other piece of that is that we wanted to be the place in the community where for sure we're connecting people to health, happiness, longevity, presence, productivity, profit, which it's all about, and creating and uplifting the community here so that we have clearer leaders in our community, so that we have clearer families, so that we have happier business owners, so that everybody has better relationships. And contributing to that in our way, we're going to continue to grow it. That's really what we're all about, is creating a world, even though it's our little tiny corner of the world right now, that's better for everybody to live in, because the clearer people are, as you said, the more confidence they will have, the more more impact they will have on others. And there's a huge trickle down effect of that. And I can't think of any more important principle than having a healthy nervous system that can contribute to that.
Amen. And it's so cool that like I have the exact same mindset, and I named my practice Well Connected Chiropractic. Yep.
I remember I texted you when I saw it was Well Connected. I literally tell people that still every time I adjust them, and I always think of you because I'm like, this is the name of her practice. So I love it.
I know. And it was God-given. Like it was a download, and he just gave me this vision, and in 90 days it was a thing. And now Thursday I'm 1 year old.
So amazing. Congrats. It's so exciting.
Yeah. So obviously I've known you longer than a year, and I was at a different practice in Orange County when we first met. But that practice was a launching pad for me to be able to have my dreams come to fruition. And it was an incredible opportunity for me to grow in a place where I didn't have the stress of owning a business, and I was able to have my kids and not take, be able to take time off work and have somebody cover my practice. So it was the right time when I was called to start Well Connected. And now I can't believe it. In the blink of an eye, an entire year has gone by. And as you say, focusing on people having healthy businesses, most small businesses don't survive their first year. They definitely don't come out in the black. And then add a pandemic to the mix. I'm just so thankful that I have the doors open, that I have time to do a podcast, that we're going to have a huge party with my staff on Thursday night. The original plan was to have this grand party that we will do every year for patient appreciation, but sadly, there are restrictions on our ability to gather. But our hearts are with everyone, and our patients know, right? So 100%. Anyways, it's been really fun having you in the community. And a lot of times I'm in like the Facebook chat groups and your name gets mentioned and I always give it a thumbs up. Like, he's an awesome chiropractor. If you're in Dana Point or in the beach cities, go see him. And you're telling them the same thing. If you need an upper cervical doctor, Dr. Hoefer's your girl. It's amazing.
It's so amazing. It's like the best thing ever to just know that I can say, hey, go see Dr. Hoefer. There's no, like, so many times in other communities, it's like, it's a search to find someone that you really, really trust. And I know, like, I mean, I would send my mom to you, dad to you, Colette to you.
Yeah.
So, which I probably should have you check her at some point, just so it's not always me doing it.
I get it, dude. I'm the same. I have other people check my kids because sometimes you're so apparent, you just miss the clinical.
Yep, for sure.
So yeah, I actually should bring my kids down to your office because you could absolutely have a look, and man, I'm going to do that. So I'll call your office today and schedule.
I love it. It sounds great. We'll do the same.
Yes, I love it. So cool. So next is where you're at, what you're doing. And you guys have been in practice how long?
It has been February 19th was 2 years.
Awesome.
So we're just over the 2-year mark, which is super cool. And yeah, it's been such a blessing just being able to take care of people and like offer the care that we provide and be a place. Like, I think I'm going to record a podcast later for my podcast on this topic. This is what we do. What it really comes down to is, like, I had a girl, her family, mom and her kids came in yesterday, and she's like telling me that her 7-year-old is like, Mom, I don't want to die from this thing. And her mom is like, from this whole COVID craziness, right?
Yes.
And like, mom is like, this is the only place that we come to that's been a consistent in our lives, like pre-COVID and now. And she's like, we love getting out of the house to be able to come here. And it's like, that's what we provide for people. Like, aside from the care, it's just those relationships in the community. Really being able to make an impact where people feel safe, and it's a place where people can feel safe, even in light of like what else is going on in other places outside of our four walls of our businesses.
Absolutely. So, yeah. That's something I've noticed too, that people are so thankful that we were open and that they could come, and that they could come for the ability for their bodies to be connected and stay on point, because the stresses outside of our four walls are crushing.
Yeah.
And we literally give people the ability to handle that more effectively. And it's such a rewarding thing to be able to go to bed at night and know that we served humanity. We served them in a way that was more meaningful than anything else that they could have had offered to them.
100%. 100%. There's this Joe Dispenza quote. So there's a podcast that he did. I think it was a few weeks ago. He says, you only accept, believe, and surrender to information equal to your emotional state. A person who's not feeling fear is less programmable. And so I think in so many ways that speaks to exactly what we do, is like we allow a space for people to feel less fear so that they're literally at a higher level of consciousness, able to make better decisions, able to have better relationships, obviously able to feel great in the process. And I think that's what he's really speaking to, exactly what you and I get to provide for our clients and everyone in the community. So.
Well, I know that the residents of Orange County, California are significantly better off with you and me here doing some work. 100%. And I'm excited. I'm excited to continue to collaborate with you and, be a friend for the next years and years and years and years and years. Because both of us, in my opinion, aren't going anywhere.
No, we're not. We'll be 120 and still adjusting people.
I know. So. I talk to my patients that are in their 70s. I'm like, I'm going to retire with you. And I'm not doing that for at least 40 years.
Yep, exactly.
And I can't even imagine retirement, because wherever I go, there are my hands. And wherever I go, I see people that need what I have. And I'm like, I'm never going to stop working.
One of my mentors told me early on, he's like, you really don't want to retire. He's like, retire means to be put out of use. And he's like, the only thing you want to retire from is the stuff that you hate doing. So he's like, don't ever get put out of use. Just stop doing the stuff that you hate to do and do everything that you love to do. I mean, I love taking care of people. I will never stop doing it no matter what. So.
Yay. Well, you have an incredible journey from teaching to becoming a chiropractor, and now literally leading a community in health and wellness and being a pillar of strength. And education and truth. It's so cool to be a part of this journey with you. And I'm so thankful that you were able to come on the podcast today and give the listeners a little joy. And so I want to ask you to tell me how people can find you. And I know you have a podcast, so I want you to talk about that, highlight that for me.
Yeah, for sure. So first off, again, thank you for having me on. I love being connected with you. It's so every time we talk, every time we chat, even when I have to come in and get x-rays because I think I broke my foot surfing late at night on a Friday night or whatever it was.
Don't worry.
You're just amazing, such a being of light, and so grateful for you and everything that you're doing for all your people. Just magical to see, magical to watch you be a mom and see and take notes on parenting and all of it. You're just seriously an amazing human being. So grateful that you welcomed us here with open arms. So
absolutely.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
We have, I guess the best way to find us is our office is Nexus Family Chiropractic. We have website, nexusfamilychiropractic.com. We're very active on Instagram at Nexus Family Chiropractic. You can check us out on Facebook at Nexus Family Chiropractic. And then I also host what is called the Nexus podcast. And I talk about really whatever comes up in the office. So whether people have questions or things that really get me fired up, and it's sometimes me just talking into the microphone for 20 minutes. I try to keep the episode short. Sometimes I interview other people. You will definitely be a guest on it in the very, very near future.
Cool.
And everything health, wellness, just living an amazing lifestyle and always bringing it back to chiropractic because I think it's the most important thing that anyone could do for themselves.
I know.
Under regular care. I
hear you, brother. I think I was probably 25. I was in chiropractic school and I just obviously loved the philosophy and I was digging it, right? And I was halfway through my program and I hadn't even learned about upper cervical yet. So talk about being passionate. I went to the next level after I learned about that. My grandmother said, all you ever talk about is chiropractic and God. Go read a newspaper. I was like, that's the last thing I'm going to do.
Right. Yep.
So to me, it's one and the same. So I'm just so happy to know there's another person out there that's on the same page.
Exact same page. Yeah, you said it perfectly. They're one and the same.
I love it. Well, it's been a pleasure, a joy.
Because of care, we're less programmable. So
yeah, absolutely. I love that. Actually, can you text that to me, that quote, because I'm going to include it. I'm going to highlight it in the blog post.
Sure. Happy to.
So it's awesome. Joe Dispenza's a bomb. He is.
He is. And he is also a chiropractor as well.
He is. And it's such a cool thing to know that because he's made a lot of changes in the world with everything that he's done. Hello, The Secret. Hello, come on.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good. But like I was saying, it's been a pleasure, a joy, and honor to have you here with me today. And I'm so thankful that you took time out of your morning. And I look forward to doing another interview with you soon. And hopefully, like you said, I could go on your podcast and we can have a fun discussion on Nexus podcast. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. And if you have any questions, comments, and concerns, just email me at getyourheadonstraight and let me know if you want to hear anything. But Dr. Kimbley, it's been a joy and you have a wonderful, wonderful day.
Thanks, Dr. Hoefer. You too.
Thank you for listening to Get Your Head On Straight with Dr. Elizabeth Hoefer. Visit wellconnectedchiro.com for more details from the show blog post and to learn what Blair Upper Cervical Chiropractic can do for you. To learn more about Dr. Hoefer and her practice, you can find her at Well Connected Chiropractic in Mission Viejo, California by visiting wellconnectedchiro.com for more information.